Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
Boom, boom, boom. This is Jared and I'm back. Hey guys, man, I am so excited to do another live show tonight. Man, it is going to be epic. All right, I'm so excited to do this. All right, but you know what time it is. All right, it's the Warriors Quest show. All right, every week. All right. I'm the host, Jared A. Brown, and on the Warriors Quest show, all right, I spotlight a chronic disease warrior who's currently looking for a living donor. All right, we're doing that tonight. All right, we're doing that tonight. We're going to be interviewing Taneisha Ellis. All right, and man, I'm excited to do that. Well, I'm so excited to do that. We're going to be bringing her on, and we're going to be showing her side of the story and what she's going through. You're going to want to hear it, and I'm excited to show it. So before I do that, though, man, I have got a great co-host tonight. All right, and so while I'm doing this, if you're watching from Facebook, we've started using a new third-party platform called Restream to broadcast this show. So go to chat.restream.io/FB if you're watching from Facebook and you want to show your name when you leave a comment. You just have to give permission give permission to Restream to show your Facebook information. You do that, you're golden, and I can show your name when you're leaving a comment. So my co-host tonight, all right, is somebody whom I've admired, someone who I respect. She's got a great smile, a very good aura. She's animated and she's very genuine, which I love. Someone who has passion, and it comes from within, and you can tell that it's genuine. And so I'm so excited to bring on Alex Rosa. I'm going to give her a very warm Warriors Quest show welcome. Here we go. Where is it? Co-host time. Boom! Hi, Alex.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Hey, thanks for coming on the Warriors Quest show and help me co-host.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's great. I'm so glad you asked me. I love this.
Thanks. So many people may have seen you on some other kidney disease, live streams, broadcasts. But Lorain, Ohio, is where you're at least saying you live. In on Facebook. So, um, tell me a little bit about where you're from and what's led you to where you're at right now.
Yeah, so yes, Lorraine, it's in Northeast Ohio. Yeah, near Cleveland. We're about 20 minutes or so away from Cleveland. But yeah, I've lived here all my life. I have hey. Yeah, I've lived here my entire life. And where I live like a block away from where I grew up when I was really little. So I still
Oh,
like
really?
the neighborhood. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So
and
you're
my now husband for like 23 some years grew up like a couple blocks away from me actually. So
Oh, wow, wow. Very cool. So, some people move away and you've stayed. That's good.
yeah, definitely been here. Yeah, definitely. And definitely kind of on a mission to like bring more holistic health and wellness knowledge, resources, just bring more of there's so many awesome people in our area that are doing stuff with holistic health and wellness and
I love
all
that.
kinds of those things. And so I just have like really been on a thing lately of like I really want to showcase all of that and show yes, we have some of that here in Lorraine and by we're right by Lake Erie. We have a beautiful area. We're right on the lake. It's gorgeous, and we have great metro parks and lots of things you can now go do that are natural, and go be outside, and it's amazing. And I love it so much.
Very cool. Wow. And I really like the holistic thing. I do because it allows us to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And I like that. I do because sometimes I think that we get too caught up in, well, I just have to do what's normally done all the time. And I think that,
Mhm.
back in the 1800s, if we go back a little ways, some of what they used back then was very holistic, wasn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, the original medicine is plants, honey, and that's where we
Yeah.
get all of our stuff from is from plants and from the earth and from food, and food is medicine and all those things. And so I think it is kind of time to go back and really embrace a lot of that stuff that we've kind of lost in like the 80s
Right,
and the
right.
90s. Like
Uh-huh.
kind of bring some of that back because definitely we need some of that healing right now for sure.
Absolutely. Healing is good, and we definitely need that as a nation, society, and so on and so forth. So absolutely. Let's heal. That's right. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
get better. Yeah.
that's right.
So all right. So I've got Shane watching, Shane Blanchard. Thanks for watching. He's putting here Dr. Spice.
Yes.
Here we go, Dr. Spice. Nice.
Yes.
Love Shane Blanchard, man. I love me some Shane Blanchard. He's so funny. He
Yeah.
cracks me up. So please don't be stingy, you guys. Smash that share button. Let's get this out there because
Yeah.
it's not for me, and it's to help this kidney warrior that we're going to interviewing tonight. It, we have to get her story out there so that we may be able to give her a better quality life. But what I had kind of the title of the show. I had named it three powerful reasons a kidney transplant. And
Mm.
I kind of want to talk about that briefly is that, number one, I actually Googled it and I looked at John Hopkins and some other,
Wow.
credible sources. And this is what I came up with, a triangle, so to speak. And it's
Mhm.
better quality of life, lower risk of health, and then fewer dietary restrictions. What do you think about those three?
Yeah, definitely the better quality of life is a huge one. And people
Yes.
don't realize how important like nobody really takes the time or who sits around and says, "Oh, well, what's my quality of life?" Nobody really realizes that until
Yeah.
you are
Right.
in the hospital bed, you can't do shit for yourself. Like that's when you realize, "Holy crap, the quality of my life sucks right now." And
Right.
That's what happens so often. We just take for granted all those little things, like being able to just like move your hand or to write something or to even breathe for yourself. Like
Right.
all these things, those all go into quality of life. So I love your little triangle, honey. I love that.
Yeah, it's not bad. I the the lower risk of health is
Mhm,
not bad. I think I was a little surprised at that, but
mhm,
their quality of life as the number one, I think is right where it needs to be, and fewer dietary restrictions is probably
mhm.
a really good one as well. Because, like you said,
Yeah,
it almost goes along with the better quality of life because you may not always understand, your dietary restrictions
mhm.
until you actually have more restrictions.
Yeah, until you have
Yeah.
to. You
Uh-huh.
absolutely have
Right.
to.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring our, again, just as a review, we're gonna be interviewing Taneisha Ellis. All right, and I've gotten to know her a little bit within the last. Love her personality. I like that she speaks her mind. And
Mhm.
I think that she's got a story that you're going to want to hear, everyone. So please continue to share this and let's get this information out there. I'm going to bring her on. Y'all know what we do. All right. I'm going to give her a very VIP intro. Please, in the comment section, give her a warm welcome. I want to see some welcome to Nia in the comments, please. And here we go. VIP. Tanisha.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Hey,
How are you
thanks for
guys?
coming on. I'm very well. Thank you. Very well. So, thank you for coming on. This has kind of been a long time coming. We've been trying to make this happen, and we finally did it, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
So, Alex, I found Tanisha in a Facebook group. Surprise! That's where we get to know people in the kidney disease community, and it was if in this Facebook group she was expressing herself and talking about dialysis and so on and so forth, and that's when I requested her to be her friend on Facebook, and then after she accepted, I kind of introduced myself, and then when we were talking, I explained what I do and how I interview people and asked her to come on. And, 3 weeks later, here we are, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tanisha, I'm going to give you a moment, if you would please, and just kind of introduce yourself and let us know, let our viewers know where you're from and a little brief background that I remember is that you were 9 years old when you first found out that you were struggling with kidney disease. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. If you would kind of tell your story about how that happened and how you found out when you were 9 years old and how this has come how it's come to this point now. Okay.
Okay. So I'm originally from South Philadelphia, and my parents had moved to Altoona, Pennsylvania, where I currently live. And then we moved to another small town. And every time, like, me and my sister was outside playing, and one day I was like, I'm in pain. I'm in bad pain. And I remember going in the house. My mom was like cooking dinner. I ran in the house, went to my room, and just like laid in fetal position. And I heard my mom yelling, like she thought I was outside still with my sister. And she was yelling my name. And she was like, where is she? Where is she? And I was too hurt and in pain for me to be like, I'm in my room. And she finally came looking in there, and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, my stomach hurts so bad. And she took me to a medical center, and it was like all her appendix had ruptured. So they were like, oh, we're going to do surgery. And my mom was like, nope, don't touch her. I'm taking her back to CHOP, Children's Hospital, Philadelphia. So when I got there, my grandmother and aunt and everybody was there. My parents had to drive. They life flighted me out there. And that's when they said, your kidneys are bad.
Wow.
Real bad. They're bad. And then at 10, I started dialysis. I remember they called my mom and said, she's going to have to start dialysis. And I'm 9. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm thinking it's like, oh, it's a pill you got to take. And here it's a whole machine and all these boxes getting delivered to my house. And I had to hook up on it every day. I started out on PD.
Wow. So like how much did you like understand being like 9 or 10 years old about your kidneys even, and like that you had kidneys and like what they do and then what you were going to have to go through?
I didn't. I know like there's a lot of people in my family that are on dialysis, but they live clear in Philadelphia, and we didn't, I was a kid. You don't care about stuff like that as a kid. And then whenever they said that, my mom was explaining it to me, and then she was like, well, the thing your grandfather has on his arm? And my grandfather, no lie, used to chase me and my sister around with his fistula, and we would run.
With his fistula?
Yeah, with his arm, and we would take off running and scream, and then...
Did you even understand what that was on his arm, though, at the time?
No. All I remember is him saying, don't turn the microwave on when I'm in the kitchen because I got a pacemaker. That's it. And then he started chasing us with his arm. And me and my sister used to just run. It was crazy. And then my mom was like, you know what he's going through? That's what you're going. And I was like, I don't want my arm looking like that. And she was like, well, we got to talk to the doctors. And when they said there was an option of peritoneal, and I said, what's that? And they said, it's home dialysis. It don't involve blood. You do it as you're sleeping, and you unhook and go about your day. I said, I'll take that for $100. Yep.
So tell me, when you found out that, that you had kidney disease and they're talking about dialysis and you're not thinking or understanding really what it was, I mean, how long was it before you actually had to go on PD? Was it just 2-3 weeks or a month?
It was probably 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because I was just about to turn 10, and I remember going down to Philadelphia getting tests done, and it was like immediately. I'm thinking, 9 years old dialysis. I got that. It probably won't happen until I'm like 22.
Right. I can only imagine.
Real quick. Yeah.
It's not something that you would think that when you're 9 years old that you're going to have to worry about, for sure.
Right. Yeah, it was terrible.
How was it like going to school? Like dialysis at night, going to school? Like how was that off for you? Like not even like even when you're 9 or 10, like as you started growing up, like
it was me and my friends used to do this thing where we used to like hit each other in the stomach, not hard, just like play with passing in the halls, and we'd hit each other. Well, when they put that PD catheter in my stomach, I was like, oh, we can't do that no more. So I wasn't at the time comfortable with letting all my friends and people know what was going on. So the only one that really knew was my sister. So she was, my aunt is a doctor in Philadelphia. Well, she's retired now, but she was a doctor. So she ordered me the belt that you would put your PD catheter in. So it's not like, putting it in your pants. Yeah. And I used to be like, oh, people are going to see it through my shirt. No one knew. Nobody.
So what year was this when you found out?
My sister and I are only a year and a month apart. So we're very close in age. So when she would go and spend the night at her friend's house, I couldn't do that because I had to be on the machine every night. And I remember I was like, it's not fair. I can't do this. I can't do that. I got to start priming my machine and prepping my machine by 7:30. So it's done by 8. Get on there. So I'm done by, 6 something in the morning. get ready for school and be at school by 8:00 in the morning. And that was every night. And then I remember my mom was like, "Oh, you're going to help her carry those bags upstairs," because they used to deliver my supplies and take them downstairs in the basement. And every night I had to go down there, get what I needed for my machine, and take it to my bedroom. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, Jasmine, you're going to help her." And my sister was like, "Come on." She didn't want to help. But yeah, my mom and I they taught me and my mom. So my sister just basically, helped me carry my bags upstairs. And I set my machine up and I'd watch TV. And then my drain tube, they used to give me like a drain tube so it drains into the toilet. And everybody, it was so new to everybody that I was on PD. And I'm just like, there's my brother, my dad. So when they lift the seat, the tube would fall out of the toilet. And there was times where my solution was on the floor. And I'm like, whoever used the bathroom glass is cleaning it. I'm not cleaning it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So my mom was always like, remember don't, if you put the toilet seat up, make sure the tube's back in the toilet. I said, yeah, y'all get sick of cleaning that eventually. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely crazy.
So
I didn't feel
it's in your family's genes, right?
Yeah, it's in my family's genes. On both sides of the family.
So is it mostly because of high blood pressure or diabetes or both?
I'm going to say both because there's diabetes in my family and there's people with high blood pressure. So I'm going to go with both.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So how were like when you were growing up, like boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever it may be? But how was that? Like, how did that go growing up?
So whenever I started dialysis, I had this little crush. And then, I made him my little boyfriend. So whenever I started PD, he knew about it. And I was with him for years, like years. And then having a boyfriend, it didn't matter. It didn't like phase him. Some men are like, "Oh no, you got a tube sticking out."
Right.
And then I was so private with it. Like I actually just started maybe a year ago talking about kidney disease. Because I used to be so private about it. I never, like whenever I would date guys, they'd be like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to work." No, I was going to dialysis.
Oh, so it was hard for you to talk about it then.
Yeah, I never talked about it with guys. I always talked about it like with just family.
Okay.
So I used to do in-home care. So, you go to people's house all times of the day. So they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I got to go to work." And I'd get up, look all good like I'm going to work here. I'm about to go sit in a chair for 4 hours.
Oh, wow. What made you start talking about it? What flipped the switch for you so that you started talking about it?
I think as I got older and when I was 19, I did get a kidney transplant. And the first call they called and said, "We got a kidney for you." And I was 18 and my mom and dad came bamming on my door. I was still in high school, but I moved out and got my own place. They came bamming on my door at 3:00 in the morning and was like, "They got a kidney for you." My whole heart sank. My mom's, she's going nuts. She's just trying to pull me out the house. Like, "Let's go." Because we had to drive a whole hour and a half. And I'm sitting there like scared, nervous. We get there, they prep you, put me in a room, draw your blood, do your blood work and stuff. And the lady came in and said, "The kidney's not for you." And my mom was like boo-hoo and crying. And my body was like, yes. Because I was scared. I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was scared, nervous. I didn't, the unknown was scary to me. And so I was like, "Oh, I can't let her know that I'm happy." I was like, "Oh, Mom, it's going to be okay. There's one, it's going to come." And then I got another call and it was for me. And I remember I hugged my mom real tight because you don't know. I never had that major of a surgery before, so I didn't know if I was going to wake up or what. So I hugged her real tight, and she was like, when you wake up, I'm going to be right here. I said, am I going to wake up? Are you sure? She said, Taneisha, you're going to wake up. And I had that done at Harrisburg Hospital in Pennsylvania.
Okay. So Audrey Bella Langston here has asked about when you when you were at 9 years old. She's asking like, what year was that? Was that like year 2000, or was that?
Yeah, it was like 2000. No, it was probably like, because in 2001 I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
So it was probably like 1998 or something.
Late 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you moved from PD to hemodialysis. Tell us a little bit about why that, what kind of what made that change? Was that a decision you had to make because of peritonitis, or what happened?
Oh, when I was on PD, I got peritonitis a lot. Not like a lot, but it hurts so bad that it feels like it's a lot of times. I think I might have got it 3 times. Then I had got my kidney transplant, and that lasted 6 years. And then once it failed, the doctors, of course, try to save it because you got to do your blood work, and they said you're in rejection. So they was like, we want you to up your steroids, and they tried to save it, but it didn't work. So instead of going back to PD, because I'm thinking I got my own house now and I don't want all that stuff in my house. So I was like, I'm going to the clinic. So I went to hemo, and that's how I switched to hemo.
Okay.
And they put the little, the catheter up here, and I did it that way for a while. And I mean, they couldn't convince me to get any other port. I was like, that catheter is everything. And then I had got a blood infection. They gave me antibiotics in the hospital, and I was cured. Then it happened again months later. And then I remember I was in dialysis, and this lady said, they were like, you need to get, a fistula. And I was like, I don't want that. This catheter is doing just fine. And this lady had said, you're going to change your mind when you're on your deathbed. And I looked at her.
Oh my gosh.
Because she was an older woman. So I just looked at her, like I gave her this look like, don't you dare say anything like that to me. And when I got an infection again, I said, nope, I'm done. So I came where I live at now and seen a vascular surgeon. He did ultrasounds and stuff on my arms. And he said, your veins are awful. He said, you can't even get a fistula in your arm. He said,
so he didn't
it's
think
bad.
that your veins, he thought your veins were like too thin, too narrow, and that
and too squiggly. He couldn't do it. So I wound up getting a graft in my right thigh. Because I got a tattoo on my left thigh. I said, don't mess my tattoo up. Do the right thigh. He was like, I'm going to do an ultrasound, whatever one's best. I can't promise you anything. I said, oh, please don't let me wake up and my tattoo is botched. And he got it in the right thigh. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. That's where my head was at the time. Don't mess my tattoo up. Do the other leg. I don't want my tattoo screwed up.
Your priorities were such, yeah.
Yeah. So I had that Alex, in my leg for years. Like that, when they first stuck it, I swear every time they stuck it, I wanted to punch the person that did it.
Yeah.
And I just was like, you only got one time only. If you miss it, I'm done. We'll try it again tomorrow. And they were like, all right. So I said, you better not miss it, because if you miss it, I'm out. It hurt. It did hurt. And then after a while, you get used to it, and it just didn't hurt no more. my skin kind of got like immune to it, tough to it, I guess. And then I think I had that one in my right leg probably for 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed whenever he put it in my leg, my ankle and my feet and my right leg was swelling up a little bit. Like if I was on my legs too long, it would swell.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I was like, man, wearing jeans is uncomfortable. You know, walking and doing stuff. So I started wearing leggings, and I was like, I would never wear leggings. And I'm like, leggings and sweatpants are my best friend, because if it swell, you know, it don't hurt.
Yeah.
As though when it did when you wear jeans.
Right.
So then eventually he kept having to go in and declot my graft a lot. And I was kind of sick of seeing him a lot. What'd you say,
Why was
Jared?
that happening? Yeah, what was that happening?
Usually it just happens. People that have grafts and fistulas, sometimes you get a blood clot in it and it'll quit pulsing. They call it a thrill. And you gotta go and get it like the blood clot taken out. So it's just something that happens.
Okay. Yeah, you were mentioning that just a couple days ago, that you were concerned that the thrill wasn't happening.
Yeah. So I told the surgeon, because he's a fantastic surgeon. I told him, I said, if you got to, you can put another one in the left leg. I don't even care about the tattoo. I'm thinking, I'm 32 now. I can care less about that tattoo. And he was like, okay, let me do this ultrasound. And he scheduled me for surgery. And he said, your artery is very deep, so I have to pull it up to the surface a little.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
What? And he put it in, and I used that one in my leg. I use my left leg now.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So I got altogether three different ports in my body.
That is just, I mean, this isn't the first time I've heard of that, but it doesn't happen very frequently. And so let me ask you, Alex. So with grafts, usually they'll make or they'll encourage patients to do a fistula because it lasts longer.
Right.
So is that a concern with her grafts? Is that because she doesn't have a fistula that she may continually have to have grafts?
I mean, it can be. Everybody's body's like a little bit different. And when you think about it, you're doing stuff to your body that it doesn't want to be done to it. So that's why we
Yeah.
end up with people that have the ports. And yes, they are super handy for patients and for like nurses, for us to give you medications and to draw blood and to do all the things. And then for patients, we don't have to poke you all the time and hurt you. So it's good. But it's such a huge, just immediate place for infection. Stuff wants to grow there. It can get infected. It can get clotted.
Okay.
The blood cells just stick to it, and you can have a lot of problems. So it's not like risk-free, but it's definitely very handy. So as long as we can keep them rocking and rolling, then we can use them. But it's kind of the same thing if you have your fistula. It's a
Sure.
connection that's supposed to be a connection, but we make it a connection.
Yeah.
And you have the same problems with that. Things
Still have to
want to
keep it
clot.
clean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing for your body to want to do. And so you can have the clots, you can have the infections. And just like she was saying, they check everything to see what size and what things are looking like. And yeah, there's a lot of people that have like squiggly veins and thinner veins, thinner arteries, or if you have a lot of plaque or any kind of issue, that it's just like, well, we can't use those. And so they go looking for other areas. And like our groin region is where we got a lot of big arteries and bigger veins and a lot of blood flow through there. So that's why they'll kind of go for the legs, and the groin area is kind of like our next stop, that we're trying to put like dialysis catheters in people. So it's the same thing, no matter if it's a
Same
graft or it's a
concept.
port, fistula. It's the same concept. Your body does not want that there. So it's going to
Yeah,
do
it's
everything
foreign.
it
Yeah.
can. Yeah. So that's just the risk that you run. But I mean, if they can keep them going as long as they can, and as long as you can keep up with whatever treatments that you're doing and trying to keep yourself as healthy as possible. I mean, that's like the best scenario that we can kind of be in at that point. So,
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
when you had your transplant, and you said that after your first transplant is when you felt a little more comfortable talking about, you know, kidney disease and your journey. How open were you to boyfriends then in regards to what you were going through? Was that still difficult for you?
When I got my transplant, I was still with the same guy. My first love, I guess
Okay.
that's what they call it. I
Yeah.
was still with him. And once I got my transplant, I felt like a whole new person. Like I had energy. I used to call my mom and like, Mom, you want to meet me at McDonald's? And she's like, yeah. And I would walk. I'd walk there and she's walking. And I used to be like, how am I beating you here? You're a little closer to McDonald's than me. And she was like, oh, Taneisha, let's just go in here, because the pill, your anti-rejection medication, I was on, I want to say at least 80 pills a day. I took like 40 in the morning, 40 at night.
Wow. Yeah.
And whatever they start you off in the
Wow.
hospital, like whatever time they start you with your anti-rejection, you're going home on that same schedule. There's no change in it. So mine was at 8:00. I would set my alarm for 7:15, get up, get myself all to, be able to get up for a little bit. And then I would drink milk with all my medicine. I miss milk. Oh,
Wow.
I miss milk so much.
Milk.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I can still taste this one pill. This pill was disgusting. And I remember I was telling the doctor that, and she said, well, try orange juice. So that was my little reason to get to McDonald's. Because I'm like, oh, I can get McDonald's and order orange juice. And when I did that, I couldn't taste the pill. So I would, then my mom was like, you need to just start buying orange juice. I said, exercise is good. I mean, I didn't have I didn't feel like doing it before. Now I'm able to do it. Let's get out and go. But yeah, the dating wasn't bad at all. Not for me. And then my fiance that I'm with now, I told him straight from the point, because I was like, when I got with him 9 years ago, I was in and out of the hospital a lot. So I didn't want him like questioning, why are you always in the hospital? So I just told him, and he accepted it.
Wow. So even during the period of time that you were with him, how you're saying that he took it well when you finally gave him the truth. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
He just like asked questions, well, because like, not to be X-rated, but when you get your little groove on, I used to have the catheter, so I would never take my shirt off. I would always have my shirt on.
Okay.
And he asked one time, and I just told him. And I was like, that's why I don't take my shirt off. So I showed him, explained everything, and he was like, oh. I was like, yeah. I would never wear like low shirts. I would always make sure my shirt covered the patch, so you can't see nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would always make my sister, you sure you can't see nothing through this shirt? And she'd be like, Taneisha, you're fine. I said, don't be letting me walk out of this house and I'm doing something and the patch shows. Because then I don't want to have to explain myself.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then whenever I was doing PD, everybody would always ask me if I was pregnant. Because, your stomach, I was always wet, filled. My stomach was filled with fluid. So my one friend that I told, she was the first person ever outside of my family. I told her what was going on. And I remember we was at the grocery store and we ran into someone we knew. And they were like, are you pregnant? And I just was like, no. And then we got out of the store and she was like, you ain't got to explain yourself to nobody. Start telling people, yeah. I said, then they're going to be waiting for a baby that's never coming out. So I was just like, no. But yeah, she was like, you ain't got to explain yourself to nobody. And I just was like, you know what? You're right. I don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, people gain weight, lose weight all the time.
Yeah. So I do have a question then. So like what like advice do you have maybe for people, for women who are kind of like, I am sort of in a relationship. I kind of need to tell so-and-so, but I don't know how to go about it, or I can't because I'm too scared. What like advice do you have for them?
Oh, girl, that's a hard question because I was in that. I was there. I would just basically say, tell them when you're comfortable with telling them, and do my method. Just keep your shirt on if you got a port, and if you got a fistula and it's bubbled out, then just tell them. You tell them your situation. Either they're going to accept it or they're not, and if they don't, they're not worth your time. They're not for you anyway then. Because the person that's for you is going to accept it. And they're going to want to see you, in better health. And they're going to want to be there for you, not turn their back on you. I mean, people go through worse every day. I came to find, I realized that. I mean, I knew that, but when you're going through it, you're not really trying to hear that. You know what I mean? You're just like, well, I'm going through this. And then you just see people that have different things going on, like people that are born with cystic fibrosis. That's worse than kidney failure in my book, because there's you can get a kidney transplant. Cystic fibrosis, you need lungs. Yeah. So I just tell people, just do what you think is right. It worked for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's good advice. Yeah, for sure. Because I'm sure people are thinking that. Because I know there's people out there that are probably really scared to like say anything, or if they know that this is kind of what's going to happen to them, that they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Even if you're already in like a relationship, that's already difficult too. We already got we're worried about that.
Yeah. And everybody said about, oh, when are you going to have some kids? And I didn't really tell people that I was pregnant on peritoneal. And I was 3 months pregnant with twins. And I wound up losing them. So I had to go clear to Pittsburgh, or not Pittsburgh, but Hershey Hospital. And that was a big mess.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you put me on a baby floor? I hear all these babies crying. And then I'm going through a DNC and everything.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, girl, that's terrible.
I hear in the group, I see there's a girl that's pregnant and she's on dialysis, and she had posted, she's pregnant and she's going to dialysis 6 days a week. And I said, oh girl, I give you props. I barely want to go 3, let alone 6. But there's a lady I go with now that had a baby on dialysis too. And I was like, oh, wow. And she said, I had to go every day. And I went, woo. That's challenging. I barely want to go 3.
Oh my gosh, girl. Wow, that's intense. So like,
yeah, and I get like wintertime comes. Now that I'm getting older, I'm like, I need to move down south, somewhere where it's warm all the time. And my fiance's Graham lives in Nevada. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I'm like, I've been through some stuff. I've been in a coma 3 times from pneumonia. And my mom died from pneumonia in 2010. And whenever they were like, it was like she got pneumonia and then I got pneumonia, and they're like, oh, we're gonna admit you. And then they wanted to transport me to another hospital. And that's what they did to my mom. And they put her in the helicopter and they laid her back and she coded. And I'm thinking, people that have pneumonia can't breathe sitting up, let alone laying them flat back. And so she coded on the helicopter, and she wound up passing away. So after I got pneumonia, they were like, "Oh, we're going to send you." I said, "Oh, no, I'm going to huff and puff, get in my car, and I'm going to drive myself." And after that, I just always drove myself a whole 45 minutes away. Because I was like, I'm not taking that chance. You killed my mom. You ain't going to kill me. And they was like, well, you're going to have to sign this paper stating you're leaving over medical advice.
Yeah, Andy.
So I would just sign the paper. And I'm thinking, I drove 12 miles to get to this hospital. I can drive another 45 minutes to get there. I mean, it don't take much to sit and catch your breath.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I was in a coma 3 times, all from pneumonia. And my sister came to my house one day and she's like, Taneisha, it's cold in here. I said, you think? And she was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, it's warm in here to me. And I used to be like, I am not turning that heat on because I had electric heat at the time. I was like, my electric bill is going to go sky high. And no. So I would always turn the oven on and open up the door. And we talk about it still to this day because she was like, Taneisha, you're so cheap. I said, no, girl, I don't want to pay no high electric bill. And then just the other day, she said, how's your house heated? I said, gas. Nope. No. But yeah, the coma thing was scary. Very scary. I remember they said they put the oxygen in your nose first. Then they put the bigger tube that goes, up your nose. Then if that's not bringing your oxygen up, they want to put that mask on you that's pressed it against your face, high blown air flowing to your face. And they said your oxygen level is still down in the 70s. So we're going to have to intubate.
Yep.
And I said, you're not intubating me until my family gets here. And my family lives an hour away from me. So I was like, oh, maybe, before they get here, maybe it'll come up. Guess who got there first? My damn sister, because she works in the town that I live in. And they said, well, we won't put you to sleep until your family gets there. And I remember I was like, oh, I got an hour. I was looking at the clock and I'm like, oh, I got an hour. Nope, my sister was there 20 damn minutes. And I remember her saying, Taneisha, and as she said my name, they were pushing that medicine into you to put you out.
Oh, wow.
And then I could still hear. Could hear. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're going to life flight her to Pittsburgh Hospital. Oh and they said, you can ride with her. And then she was like, how am I going to get home? And I thought, you bitch, you. You worried about how you getting home. And then I thought, oh, yeah, you better drive. Because I live 2 hours from Pittsburgh. So I thought, yeah, if I was awake and able to tell you, drive. And then my aunt that is a doctor, she flew out from Philadelphia and came to Pittsburgh. My dad and uncles and brothers and everybody was there. And then I went to the hospital probably 2 years later, and they said the same thing. You got pneumonia. I said, well, if you got to intubate me, please do not ship me to Pittsburgh. Because after, you get out, I had to find a way home. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I should have been able to get home how you brought me here in a helicopter.
Chopper.
Yeah, you took me there in one. You should deliver me back home in one. But yeah, I had to find a ride home. So when it happened again, I was like, oh, please do not ship me to Pittsburgh unless it gets real bad and you can't handle it. Then ship me to Pittsburgh. But if I'm stable enough, keep me here. Yeah, that and coming out of a coma, I remember I was hallucinating, thinking I was seeing my sister. It wasn't her. I seen some black girl, and I was like, Jasmine. And the girl kept walking, and I was like, you bitch, you hear me, and it's not even her. And then I would hallucinated that my car got wrecked. Oh, so I called my sister, and I'm just like, he wrecked my car, and you need to go get it. And the compression socks they have on you? it felt like to me I was in the car and my leg was jammed in the door. But really, I'm laying in the bed. I'm hallucinating. I'm like telling these nurses all this stuff, and they're agreeing with me. So I'm thinking the stuff's true. Here ain't none of that happened. Nothing.
Yep.
I told the one nurse, she said, you were telling me your man was coming to kill you and everything. And not to let him in the room. Don't let him in the hospital. He was coming to kill you. Because I was literally seeing him knocking on people's doors looking for me. And I was like, he's 10 doors from my room. And he was shooting everybody. And it wasn't me. He was shooting them. And so I was buzzing a nurse. And I was like, if this guy comes here, don't let him in. And they called my older brother. And my older brother came to the hospital with a cross chain. And he gave it to me and put it around my neck. And I looked at him and I said, you're leaving, right? He said, yeah, I got to go home. Why? I said, because you put the cross around my neck. Because, he put that around my neck. Like, to me, it was meaning safety, because it was like 3-something in the morning and I'm hallucinating.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jasmine. She said, Taneisha, you never talked to me. And then when I woke up, I couldn't remember my password to my phone. Mm-hmm. So I'm asking the nurses, can you YouTube how to open up a Samsung, like factory reset it without knowing the password? And the lady was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. But then she walked out the room and I'm just like, I don't think she wants to help me. So then I asked another nurse and she finally, I got on her nerves. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've been through it. Been through the works.
Oh.
But it's definitely a game changer when you get a transplant.
I hear you, girl. Yeah, I see the
It's definitely one.
Yeah.
It's a good. My friend just got a living donor transplant last week. And I was so happy for him. I was like, when you get home, you are going to feel great. I said it's a whole different ball game once you get your kidney. It's so different, way different. You feel more alive, and you got this energy that you don't have now. And I just was like, where did all this energy come from? Because now I'm just like, everybody's like, you want to do this, you want to do that, and I'm like, I got to prep myself. I got to be like, yeah. They'd be like, oh, it's Friday night. Friday night come. And I might just be like, yeah, I'm not going. Sometimes and then dialysis, you have dialysis that day. And then that night, people want you to go do something. And I can be like, yeah, I want to go. But then when it's time to go, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just lay here.
I don't know if I can hear him at all. Can you hear him?
No, we can't hear you, Jared.
I kept thinking, I was like, he's talking, maybe.
He was like blotchy, and I couldn't tell if he was talking or not.
Yeah. I love your story, though, girl. That's so much to go through.
It is. Thank you. I mean, me and my sister are very, very close.
Yeah.
Like after my mom died, my sister and I became, we were always close, but we were sisters,
Yeah.
Wanted to beat each other up, and then we became real close. Now we talk probably like 10 times a day.
Yeah. Does she have any like kidney issue? Not to be like her business out there, but is it
no?
Okay.
My mom had 4 of us, and no one has kidney failure but me.
Just you. Wow. That's so like interesting, like being 9 and having that happen to you. It's like that's usually not the normal for sure. In this
right.
Yeah. And then having your teen years doing that.
It was, hey Jared.
We see you.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure why my audio was malfunctioning.
Yeah, we were wondering why you weren't talking.
And I thought, why isn't she answering my questions?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I was, just asking before when you my audio is that just recently you were concerned about the vibration, the thrill, and you saw your doctor. And what kind of solution is he coming up with to help you with that?
Okay, so this new surgeon I don't like, because my original surgeon retired. This new one is awful. So I go to him. I went to the hospital first. I got on the group and I made a post, and I said, back in March, they put a graft in my right arm. And I don't even know what was wrong with me, but I don't really remember what he was talking about, what he was saying.
Yeah.
But apparently I signed the papers for this graft to be put in my arm. And I wake up, my arm has a big old ace bandage going down it. And I got a graft in my arm. And they were like, we had to use a cow valve.
What?
I said, a cow valve? So I said, oh my world. So they unbandaged me, felt my arm. And I mean, that thing was pulsing big time. Boom, boom, boom. But my arm, my fingers was so numb, tingly, felt like my fingers were dead. And I'm telling them, I can't hold my phone. I can't do nothing with my hand. And they were like, oh, that's normal. It'll go away. So that was in March.
What?
April comes and I'm still feeling this, my
like
weakness.
I can't.
Yeah, like it was so weak.
Okay.
So I go back to that surgeon and he says, well, sometimes that happens with patients, and put a glove on, where he told me to go get this type of copper glove or something. So I'm sitting there thinking, no. Ain't doing it. I'm not walking around with my arm feeling like it's dead, for one. And for two, I'm not going to go buy nothing that I don't need. This can be fixed. So I went 2 hours away to where I'm listed for the transplant.
Yeah.
I went there, and the vascular surgeon there told me I had Still syndrome. I said, Still syndrome? What's that? He said, everything you're describing is Still syndrome. And he said, basically, whenever they put the graft in your arm, instead of all your blood going all the way down your arm, it's going back up. It's not making it all the way down your arm. It's going back up. I said, well, that's going to have to get fixed. Someone's going to have to fix that. That's got to get fixed. So he fixed it. And I remember telling the surgeon here, I said, I had to drive 2 hours away just to get my arm fixed. When you were capable, the surgeon here, I said, when you were capable of fixing it, he didn't want to fix it. He was trying to tell me there's nothing can be done. And I'm thinking, I work at the hospital, and he knew that. I worked at the hospital, so I took care of patients. And now you just caused me my job by putting this thing in my arm.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And he was saying basically, if your graft in your leg gives out, you have this in your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this in my arm never been used. They never used it because I won't let them use it. That's why it's never been used. And I'm like, as long as my leg is throbbing and going, you don't have to use my arm. Mm-hmm. So I woke up and I was like, oh, I feel my arm all the time. I can lay on it and hear it with my ears. I can feel it and hear it with my ears. And I remember I was laying on my arm and I didn't hear anything. So I'm sitting there feeling and I'm going up my arm, and my fiance was sleeping. So I hit him and was like, hey, feel my arm. Because now I'm starting to panic. And he was like, babe, I don't feel nothing. I said, yeah, me either. He said, you better go to the hospital. And I'm looking at the clock like, do I really want to go? It was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I don't really want to go over there. And then I had posted in a group, and someone that goes to dialysis with me, I added her in the group, and she was like, you might want to go over there. Is your arm hurting? I was like, no, it's not hurting. But the longer I was sitting over there, it started hurting. And I sat over there for 5 hours, never got seen.
Oh my gosh.
So I left there at 5:15.
That is shocking.
Yeah, never got seen. They said they were overcapacitated and that there's been people waiting in the waiting room that had IVs.
Mhm.
I seen them. And there was people there that said they've been there for 13 hours. I said I would have been left. I waited 5 hours and I said I'm leaving. So I left and went to dialysis, and I told them, you know, this ain't working. And they said, well, we'll call the surgeon. So they called the surgeon. I went in Tuesday to the surgeon, and he was like, okay, well, we don't really think, if you're not going to let them use it, we don't think we should do surgery and declot it. And I looked at him like, wait a minute, what happens when my leg clots? Now I don't have no access.
That's a good question.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'd rather have 2 working accesses just in case if one of them clot, I still got another one that's working. So he scheduled me for surgery for Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah.
So 2 days from now.
Yeah, he's going to declot it.
All right.
But he put, what's the real word? I call it a cow graft. I know that's not what it's called.
I'm
But
not
it came
sure.
How the bovine is cow
bovine, right? It literally a cow valve.
Yeah.
I said, you putting cows in people? What?
Yeah. Bovine is the cow. Porcine is a pig. Is pork. I always think pork, but is pig. Porcine is the pig, and then bovine is the cow one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I have in my arm. A piece from a cow.
You know, it sounds shocking at first when you think about it, but in some ways, you know, I think it's also very fascinating that we can use animal parts and still enhance what we're going through. I do find that fascinating.
Yeah. I just seen maybe last week they did the pig kidney.
Yeah, the pig transplant.
So me and a couple of people were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be the guinea pig. I don't think I want to be first.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've read that they're very closely related to humans. I mean, when they're lying down on their backside, I mean, if I just look at with the perspective, it almost looks like a real human, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just like, my sister called and she's like, Taneisha, did you see they're using pigs for getting pig kidneys and putting them in humans? And I was like, Jasmine, I shared that on Facebook and I tagged you in it. And she was like, oh. And I'm thinking, do you not pay attention to what I tag you in? And she was like, well, we need to go gather us some pigs. I said, you go gather them. She said, what blood type do you need? I said, I don't know how that works.
So Taneisha, we've run out of time a little bit here, and so I want to say thank you to Alex for coming on and co-hosting. You've been tremendous. I love your personality. You're vibrant. You've got just a great smile when you're on camera, and I think you're extremely genuine when you're trying to help people, and I love that about you. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, Alex, for coming on and giving us the nursing side.
Oh, yes, girl. I love learning about you. This was great. I love it.
Me too.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Put me out there. It definitely did.
Good. I'm glad you stretched a little bit, and because definitely people can learn from you. People are looking to you, and people want to know like the real life shit that people are going through, so that they know that
they do.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. So thank you for that.
I absolutely agree with you. Is the raw, real stuff is what people want to hear about.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I don't know about different states, but I know here in PA, you gotta pretty much have like your own funding for your family for when you get transplanted. So I did a couple T-shirts. My one friend that has CF, she was doing these T-shirts that says "Save a Life" on the front, And then on the back, it has like all the organs that can be transplanted into people. And it has a recyclable bin on it. And I sold $250 worth of t-shirts.
What?
And then all that money came to me. Yeah. Well, it was
Wow.
$500 altogether, but she took her $250 and I got my $250.
That was your cut.
And
okay.
yeah, so now I'm like, oh yeah. So me and my sister are talking about doing our own little t-shirt stuff.
Nice. Good for you.
To, people wear it, get the word out there.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
I'm gonna
again,
have her
Alex.
make me
I
a
appreciate
sticker.
it.
I'm gonna have her make a sticker that she has a cricket, so I'm gonna get her to make me something that I can put on my car about kidney. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think the more you can do that, the better. Well,
yeah,
Alex,
the more you share the word.
Exactly, you do. You have to try to find creative ways to do that. You really do, whether it's t-shirt, magnets, mugs. I mean, just anything you can think of to get the word out there, and you've got to be really creative. I did this YouTube video and I showed how you can use what's called a glass pen. It's not really a pen made out of glass, but it's a pen that you can write on glass. And how you can use this glass pen to write on windshields or or whatever glass window on your car. And I've got that. I'm looking out my window as if you guys can see, but I've got my car out there and I've got, writing on it for some kidney disease patients that need help. And and it's pretty weather resistant too. But anyway, I totally get that. I think that's awesome that you're doing that, because you really have to think of different things, be creative.
And definitely got to prepare yourself, because when that call comes, you never know when it's coming. So you got to definitely be prepared.
All right. Well, thank you again, Alex, for coming on. Anytime, you're doing something, I'll definitely pick you up on and reciprocate the favor. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye. Take care.
See ya.
All right. So what we're going to do is, before we end the show totally, what I'd like to do is, I want to go over again kind of the beginning of the show. I entitled this show 3 Powerful Reasons for Having a Kidney Transplant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this graphic again. And all right, so it's a triangle. And at the top of the triangle, it reads, I'm going to take this caption off. Here we go. Just momentarily, I'll put it back on. At the top of the triangle, all right, reads better quality of life, lower risk of health. I apologize that the word health is kind of not showing as well. And then fewer dietary restrictions. Now, I got this, it's not always totally 100% matching with every single kidney warrior, but I did a Google search and took like the top answers. So my question for you is, what do you think about these 3 things, and what would this mean to you getting a transplant, and what are the 3 powerful reasons for you to get a kidney transplant?
I would say the better quality of life, because getting a kidney transplant is not a cure. It's just keeping you alive longer and you're healthier. And the dietary, you basically can eat whatever you want, no restrictions. You don't have to watch what you're putting in your mouth, and your life is just better with a kidney transplant. I've been there, so I know it's definitely better. The only thing is the medicine, which ain't bad because it's keeping your body from rejecting. But even if you're taking your medicine on time and everything you got to do, your body still can reject it. So I feel like those 3 things are definitely great, because they're all important and they're all true. I definitely love the better quality of life. That
is a big one.
More expandancy of life. You're not trapped worrying about going to dialysis. You can go on vacation whenever you want to. There's a lot of things that I want to do that I can probably do them if I schedule a treatment somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like going somewhere is not going on a vacation and having to do dialysis. That's not no vacation for me.
Right. So,
So,
and lastly, what I'd like to do is it's shout outs. Okay. So who would you like to shout out, whether it's giving thanks, tributes, or just shouting out somebody because of how they've given you support?
my first shout out would be to my sister for her, being my backbone and being with me every step of my way, even being able to call her whatever time of the night. And my fiance for, wanting better for me and sticking by me and doing he does a lot now. He does a lot. And I would say all my new friends that I met out of the group that, keep me positive and, they help me and I help them.
Being part of a community like this is really something powerful, and I'm glad to hear that there is a coming together. Because if we're united, we're much stronger together. And so
Right.
I love that you're able to connect with so many people that know what you're going through, that can relate, so on and so forth. That's powerful.
Yeah, because a
Well,
lot of people be wanting to give up, And when you feel like you're alone, that's a crappy feeling. I've
yes, it
been there.
is. Yeah.
It don't feel good. And I didn't know nothing about this group stuff until my social worker was like, here's a group. And I joined it, and then I've been addicted ever since.
Yeah. It is powerful. It is. It's powerful to be part of something, and
Yeah,
especially
and
when
people can relate,
yeah, exactly. It is when they can relate and and there's a greater understanding of what you're going through. It just makes you feel like you're not alone, and it's so important. It's absolutely important that we don't feel alone, because
Right,
then even when we do have a bad day, because we'll have them, even on that bad day, you're still not alone. And then
right.
that's why, you know what I mean? And you can confer or talk to somebody, and
And
it's powerful.
I talk to people in the group more than I talk to people that I know.
Hmm.
And the only reason why is because people in the group knows what I like.
Yeah.
They've been there themselves,
Hmm.
or they're going through it, or they, it. I know at my dialysis unit, they're like, "Oh, I know what you're going through. My mom was on dialysis." You don't know nothing until you're sitting in that chair. Because
Yeah.
I personally could not relate if it wasn't for me being in the chair.
Right.
I'm not even gonna lie.
It's
I could
true.
have sympathy and feel bad
Hmm.
and try to help you, but I could never imagine and understand what someone's going through until you're actually going through it yourself.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. People can try to show empathy, but it's not a total understanding. It's not.
Right.
And so you make a very good point. Well, hey, listen, seriously, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
I'm so happy we did this. We rocked it, and I just think that you just have a great you speak your mind, and I think you've got a lot going for you right now, and I'm happy to be part of getting your story out there. I am very, very passionate about doing this, and getting stories and journeys out there, and your narrative is a good one, and I really am happy that we're able to get this out there, and spread the word about you needing a living kidney donor. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome. All right, we're not gonna be strangers, all right? I'll stay in touch with you,
Definitely
all
not.
right?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Have a
All
good
right.
evening
Take
now, all
care.
right?
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, guys, we've heard from all right, my co-host, obviously, Alex Rosa. So very happy that she came on and co-hosted. And also, I'm very thankful for Taneisha Ellis. All right, since 9 years old, she's been dealing with kidney disease. All right. Think about that. She was in a coma. All right. Has gone from PD to hemodialysis and has 2 different grafts. So please, if you're healthy enough to donate, please apply to be a donor. All right. And if you're not, then please donate a share. And please just share this. All right. Don't be stingy. Share this. All right. Here's the information. Please call the phone number and give her a better quality of life. All right. Very thankful for you watching tonight. Click the share button and please also go to my YouTube channel and please subscribe. All right. Thanks again for all that you do to help me get this information out there. All right. I'm going to find the outro. Thank you again for watching. Peace. I'm out. Peace. Peace.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.